Hello, hello. Welcome to episode 96 of the Titanforge podcast. I'm Ratnos, joined by Tettles as always, and special guest instead of Trell this week, we have Squishei from Wowhead. Hello.
Hello. My hair is very long since you probably last saw me. This has been cooped up in my house for way too long, but I'm glad to be here.
Mine's a little, I guess, I don't know, I think I had my hair cut for last weekend, but maybe it was the weekend before. I don't know. But I got my hair cut recently, so.
I remember very specifically you told me that you couldn't send me pictures for the thumbnails
Oh,
for
yeah,
our
yeah,
weekly
that was a week and
Wowhead
a half
video.
ago. Yeah,
Yeah, because you needed your hair cut first. You needed to shave so you no longer looked like a goblin.
yeah. Yeah. I haven't shaved since then, of course. That's too much effort.
It's
Felt
for
that.
all the YouTube thumbnails you've been putting out recently, Dratnos.
Yeah, it's all the same. There are a lot of them are from the same day. That's why you realize in the thumbnails you see me in the same shirt or whatever. Although, well, I won't spoil any more behind the scenes
Wait,
details.
you're using the pictures that you sent me
No, no,
as
no.
well Oh, okay. I
Just
thought
like
you were.
I'll like
That'd be
record
so
three
funny
videos
if
in
you
a day or
were.
whatever, and then release them over the next 3 days. Or, I mean, the past couple days I've just been blasting like 100 videos or whatever. But that's just because there's so much to talk about. Which brings us to this week's show, where we also have so much to talk about, which is a lot of 9.1. Like this is kind of our survival guide. Again, not the spec, but the just getting ready for the patch. So there's quite a bit of stuff coming in the new patch. There's not really too much time pressure. It's not going to be too urgent next week, I would say, right? You're going to have a week before Heroic and Mythic week where
Yeah.
there's not too much new stuff going on, but there are some things that you're going to want to get started on immediately and get the grinds rolling. So
It,
we'll go through those.
yeah, I mean, not to foreshadow too much, but there's nothing really that's time gated aside from the bi-weekly Covenant Assault,
Right. So
right?
the first timer that will expire on you will be halfway through the weekly reset when the first bi-weekly assault goes away. And if you miss that, you miss out on 50 soul cinders, which probably won't affect which week you can craft your ranks 5 and 6 legendaries, but maybe it will if there's a couple extra from some quests somewhere.
Yeah, I'm excited to go back to assaults again. We missed those since, BFA assaults, Legion assaults.
Yeah. BFA had two different kinds. BFA had faction assaults and N'Zoth assaults, remember? So they're really up in the ante here.
Yeah.
I'm still farming the Ventinax back on
Oh,
Oh,
the
why?
what was that thing called? The ship, right? The one in
yes, the Ventinax
Bro
ship
the Broken
assault
Shore.
ship. Yes, the Broken Shore.
yeah, where you just follow the ship around. Yeah.
I haven't thought about that actually so fucking long.
Dude, I remember the first week that place was popping. Everybody was hanging out under that boat, grinding something or other. Um, okay, so that's our main topic this week. We have Squishy here, who has really done a lot of work to, well, probably one of the most knowledgeable people about all of this stuff, by virtue of being like the PTR, Wowhead guy. So
By
if you've
being
been
virtue of the being the only person who knows about all of this.
yeah, whatever Wowhead articles you've read about all of these new things, there's a good chance that they were written by Squishy. So we are extremely glad to have you here. Um,
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Yeah. Okay, so I guess let's just go into tip of the week, and then we'll go into our main topic, which is survival guide. My tip of the week is that there's a really useful website if you're looking for Tazavesh info or guide content that I think is really well laid out. So this is Mythic Trap, which I'll put the link in the I guess in the air. I'll just drag this down so you can see as well in the video and on the stream and stuff. But yeah, Mythic Trap has this Tazavesh dungeon access guide, which shows you exactly where you need to go to get the quest to get into the dungeon and how to get the quest to start the hard mode, which is worth doing. It gives you a necklace. So there's like a 226 necklace you get for just unlocking hard mode, and then a 233 for completing hard mode or something. I've heard. Is that fake news?
Um, 155 for completing hard mode.
Oh, I thought they were like
Yeah.
155 on Wowhead, but they're like scaled up actually in practice.
Last I checked, it was 155 in the PTR, so I
Okay.
reported it. We'll see if that comes with anything. But yeah, 226 for just starting hard mode, which is really, really easy to get.
Hmm. This necklace has a proc that has been nerfed by 85% in the most recent PTR build and is
It was
still
so
pretty
OP.
good. So it's
Yeah.
still worth like 10 extra item levels on this thing. It's no longer a necklace you need to like hit better than mythic necklaces or whatever, but this
It's
will
worse
tide
than
you over until
heroic.
you get a heroic grade drop.
Exactly.
Um,
It's still worse than heroic necklaces, at least for balanced druids specifically. So I suspect that's very similar for most of the other classes, but it's good nonetheless.
I mean, it's probably better than what you're wearing unless you're going to be putting a legendary there.
Right. It is definitely better than
True.
whatever 9.0 necklace you have on. So that is something that you can go and grab next week. And this site has a couple of good resources. It's got pretty nice looking guides to each of the bosses as well if you want to go and look through those. So, including the
Tazavesh
hard mode
isn't open
guides.
until Tazavesh isn't open until season 2 though.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So this is not something you can do next week, in fact.
Yeah.
So, get tricked. Haha.
Pranked. Lol. That's actually a pretty good dungeon. Have you tested Ratnos? I know
I haven't
Squishy and I
tested it
tested
yet,
it
no.
together.
I've
I
heard
thought it was
good
pretty
things.
solid.
I don't like to, particularly when it's like not something that is going to be like raid related, where I just have like, because I'll have all of heroic week to do it, right? So like,
Yeah.
if it takes me 5 hours to clear it instead of 4 or whatever, or 2 hours instead of 1, that doesn't really hurt, right? So I'd rather
Yeah,
just
but you have,
experience it
you
for
know,
the first time on live.
you get to go through it on all your characters like Blood of the Enemy.
Probably not. No. Uh, probably do it on 1 or 2.
For hard mode, you get 233 item level loot, right?
Yeah. So it is worth doing. Um, if it's better than 9.0 gear again on all slots basically. And there's a couple of interesting-ish trinkets as well,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like the end of the world. Like it will be obsolete by heroic grade gear, right?
Yeah.
And
Unless
by
they
M
scale
plus
it up.
gear. True. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't
unless-
upgrade it with Valor anymore either, right? Like it's not. For a while, it was Valor upgradable on PTR, but they
Yeah.
removed that, which is good, I think.
In terms of tuning, the people on PTR were scaled to 213. So if you have any kind of like mythic level gear,
Oh.
you should stomp hard mode unless they scale it up and tune it up.
I'm
Okay.
moderately concerned about how the dungeon's going to look for Mythic Plus because the bosses are hard AF, but that's not coming for another season. Some of those mechanics and those bosses can get a bit dicey with how like area denial works on a couple of them.
Yeah, we don't know when Mythic Plus will come out for Tazavesh, right? It's either 9.1.5 or 9.2.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably 9.2 if I had to guess.
I would say probably true as well, yeah. Which is a
Look,
shame. Yeah.
you were concerned about Mechagon, then Sparkbox happened.
Well,
True.
I feel like that was a very warranted concern for Mechagon and ended up being also correct.
Yeah, think
for
about
why I thought it was
upper
gonna be-
Mechagon, right? Like the bosses in upper Mechagon where you
Yeah.
didn't have bots. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, some of those bosses are just like, what's the mailroom boss? That mailroom boss is gonna be brutal. Like holy shit.
It's practice for Lady Vosh in TBC.
True, unnerfed Lady Vash as well. We're gonna get to fight those pre-nerf
Wait.
Kelthus and Vash, never killed before. Hardest content to ever exist in WoW.
Wait. You guys, wait. They're not nerfing them before
They
they're
are
released?
releasing the pre-nerf versions of those bosses.
They
Except
should have done that with
without all the
Cthulhu.
bugs.
They should have done that with Cthulhu. Can you imagine if Cthulhu just got fucking insta killed like without the nerfs?
I think they would.
Mathematically impossible.
I think that
Yeah,
they all would
mathematically
have still
possible, by the
died.
way.
Even like, I mean, it would have been a lot harder for like the normie guilds, but those top guilds would have still taken 12 minutes to kill each of those bosses.
Yeah.
But Kelthus and Vash, that'll be the next copium classic is harder than retail moment.
Yep.
Yeah, and then after that, it's gonna be Muru in Sunwell. Mark my words, there's gonna be the Muru hype, and then that will
Oh,
die
yeah.
in 10 minutes.
Squishy,
Think that-
okay, both of you two are both playing Classic currently. How long do you both expect to play Classic for? Do you guys expect to continue for extended periods of time, or is it just gonna like kind of die down once 9.1 starts?
It's a good side game. I think they're going to hopefully know that people are playing both, and they'll stagger their patches around that. Kind of like how PoE seasons and like Diablo seasons never intersect. You kind of just play one, then you play the other, then you play one, then you play the other, and I hope they do that.
Well, yeah, PoE like swerves to avoid other game releases. Where they, do you
Yeah.
see where they like moved by a month to avoid the Cyberpunk release, which turns
Yes.
out to have not been necessary at all because both of the people who played Cyberpunk would have just played the League anyways if it was out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's always interesting to watch. I don't know. I've been raid logging in Classic for the past couple weeks, and I expect that I will raid log for another week or so, and then not log until the next phase probably. Do you see that they've been sending out the little surveys about the fresh start servers though? That
Yeah.
news got broken, which I think would be cool. I would like to see them do like experimental classics fresh start servers with like different tweaks to the experience.
If they sped up leveling and made the bosses harder, I think they could get a lot of people in. Also, with a bunch of quality of life changes. Because as interesting as Classic was, there's a lot of like not difficult, just takes an exuberant amount of time.
Like
It's tough
what
because
is
like
just rep farming
just
or
like also like okay after you kill one mob and then you sit down and drink for 30 seconds, then you go kill the next mob or whatever, right?
Or
Uh,
flight paths taking 10 minutes to fly across,
oh yeah, flight paths are about they're basically like normal mount speed to travel across a zone. They're just airborne.
Yeah, if you go on a flight path, it's basically Blizzard telling you, stand up, go get a drink, go to the bathroom, get a snack, make a sandwich, eat it, and then you might be there.
The thing
eat
is,
it.
all of these changes, right? Everything that like makes the game more quality of life, like to some extent, once you take all of that away, like what is left of classic, right? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's weird because each of them individually, if you look at them, you're like, this is dumb. But like in aggregate, all of that is the experience, right?
Oh yeah.
So I think that like removing those or making quality of life better in classic is kind of a I don't know if that actually makes it better. I don't know.
I think that the reason that people I think that people are playing classic for the shitty like experience.
It's tough because like I would love to like there are things I'd take a scalpel and go fix, but I don't know if it would make it better or if it would just be a step towards the game feeling like retail because retail doesn't have any of that like charm of like leveling being a fun thing to do that classic
Leveling is
does.
the worst. Leveling is the worst.
Leveling is like a chore on retail, but it's actually it's a chore in classic as well. But it is pretty fun too, right? Like leveling is a part of the game that some people don't like and some people do. Whereas on retail, I would say it's just like it's boring and quick for everybody. So I don't know.
Yeah, fair.
It's an interesting question, but I hope they experiment with stuff. If they can do fresh servers, right? They can just do an experimental server, and if it's not your cup of tea, you just don't have to touch it.
Yeah.
All right, Squishy, what is your tip of the week?
My tip of the week is if you haven't been playing recently, for any reason, and you don't happen to have a keystone anymore in any of your characters, you can talk to Taship next to the Great Vault next week, and he will give you a keystone somewhere in the realm of where you left off. Doing another PTR gives you a 15.
Wow.
Gave my DH a 15. Probably, I think it ended at like in 17 or 18, so it's probably downgraded from the weeks, but it does give you a somewhat relevant keystone if you have no other opportunities and your entire guild stopped playing or something.
I was worried that it would just give you like a +2 key or whatever if you hadn't done keys and H's. But yeah, that's really good news actually. If it gives you like only a couple levels lower.
I need to go hit up that homie whenever the patch.
Yeah.
Yep.
I may be lacking a key.
Yeah, Tassup does 3 really nice things next patch, right? Offers you a key if you don't have one. Offers to deplete your key if you want to. You just go talk and you can deplete your key as much as you want.
Yep.
And at the end of a dungeon, offers you that dungeon swap, right? The key swap.
Shit. We forgot about one of our tips of the week for this week about the Valor vendor.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can do that real quick now as well.
Dratnos' tip of the week.
Yeah, well, I've already talked about this before. Anybody who needs to know about these sorts of things, of course, just catch the videos. But yeah, there's a he's so mad. There's a Valor vendor. What is it? It's next to the Great Vault as well. It's like Keystone Exchange or something. You talk to and you can trade 750 Valor for 10 Callous Hides or 20 Elithium ore. I won't even tell you what the third option is. It's so exciting that you will need to go and have your mind blown for yourself. But
it's Lightless Silk. It's Lightless Silk.
Tettles. Spoilers. I'm gonna bleep that out in the video so people won't hear it.
Okay.
No, I'm not gonna do that. That sounds like a lot of work. All right, let's watch your clip of the week, Tettles. What do we got here? It's
They
this is
are
from the
yes,
Raid Masters
making the
thing.
correct
We need
choice as a
audio
lot
for
of these
this.
guilds
Okay.
are they are also making the correct choice as a lot of these guilds are to run as few hunters as possible because everyone knows that that class is just complete garbage. Even with the legendary bow, you're not going to take any hunters next raid. I wonder what it's like playing a class like that.
Dude,
Okay.
Cyrus just flaming hunters.
All right, so I want to make it very clear that hunters are legally not allowed to fight against Sylvanas. Thus, they should and will be bad in 9.1.
Like how Death Knights were bad against Lich King back
Exactly.
in Wrath. Okay.
Exactly, and how Moonkins were bad against Cenarius, you know?
Warriors
Just-
were bad against Garrosh. Yep.
Exactly.
This is
This checks out.
scientific facts.
I don't make the rules; it just happens.
Did you know there was a brief period of time where survival hunters could like swap to the bow, cast Wailing Arrow or whatever, and then swap back to their staff? But now there's an
Really?
ICD on Wailing Arrow from that bow. So sad.
God.
Yeah. Survival's still gonna be
Isn't
sweet, though.
Sylvanas? Doesn't Sylvanas have a dagger too? So wouldn't rogues technically be banned from fighting Sylvanas too?
Well, Sylvanas is like thematically a hunter, right? Like she
Yeah.
is a playable hunter hero in the popular card game Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft. So that's you know.
Former Hearthstone pro Squishei joins us on the show.
Don't do that.
You were invited to a professional tournament. I don't make the rules, dude. It's all you.
Um, so yeah, I think that the hunter death is like a little bit exaggerated, but I do think you'll see not very many of them in the really top runs. Yeah, I think they'll be fine
don't
though.
know.
I don't know.
There's-
The bow is cool.
It'll be fine.
There's still 3 days before the patch launches, and they're still pushing hotfixes. There's still 7 days before Heroic Week,
After that, yeah.
and who knows what they'll do during Mythic Week. So
Why the fuck did we get like 0 class changes for this patch, by the way?
Also, why is the balancing bean like a paper I've been writing in college or whatever, where it's like nothing, 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 nothing. Oh my goodness, this is due in a week. All right, I'm gonna do all the work now. Because that's what PTR has felt like. There's been hotfixes every day, or 2 hotfixes in the same day.
it's nothing new, but considering the cycle, we've had 4 weeks of nothing, and then a whole lot of everything. But we did get a lot of class tuning at the beginning of the PTR. We had the Balanced Druid Stellar Drift loved changed.
Dog shit.
We had the Fire Mage nerfs, which like did a rework on kindling and all that stuff. So there was a huge amount of stuff at the start, and then just a whole middle section of nothing, which is why everybody's been really concerned right now, I think.
But it's funny that like the meta for like what meta classes you're probably going to see is going to actually shift, even though there hasn't been very many class changes. Like the expected classes that you're going to see in raid is probably going to be a little bit different than what you saw for Nathria. Mythic Plus probably going to be more of the same. Probably that triple rage, that outlaw rogue shit. Like that's probably going to be about it. But at least for raid, it's going to be slightly different.
Yeah, I think that the balance is going to be pretty close. I think that they're actually doing a pretty good job from what I've seen of landing within a pretty tight band for the class balancing, but I do wish that we'd been able to test a lot of the changes that they're putting in now during the raid testing phase. Particularly, like I wish we'd been able to test, shards of domination and everything, all these systems back during raid testing.
You don't want to test it. It's fun.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they're not that hard to figure out, right? That one of them just says you gain 2% damage. One of them says you gain 3.5% damage against targets with less health than you, and one of them says you gain 4% damage when you damage a new target. It's like, oh, okay.
Poggy Woggy says
Don't need to do too much theory crafting to figure out how these work. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they also have the bonuses, the 3-set bonuses, but
True.
even then, those are like.
Apparently, the Unholy is just the dominating one right now.
They nerfed it, but
Okay.
even I don't have numbers on it, but they nerfed it recently. It may not be the case still. Squishei looks like he may know more.
everybody's going in holy. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I'm
You
pretty
think
sure it's
so?
not most. I'm pretty sure it's just all.
If
I
it's
could be wrong
all,
on that,
the more
and
all it
that's
is, the
scary.
more likely it is it will get changed as well, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of thing as well where whenever you have like a laser matrix situation week one,
That's exactly what I brought up.
yeah, it's like that's going to be the thing that they will almost certainly try at least buff the Frost and Blood set bonuses.
Or they'll take Unholy out back and shoot it, and then buff the other two by a lot.
Oh, the holy is probably just gonna get shot down. I don't think the others. I was not expecting the other two to
Hopefully
get
it's
buffed
before I
really.
use my precious Stygian Embers to upgrade those shards. I guess if you upgrade the Unholy Damage one, that's fine, because you'll use that in the other sets as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're supposed to upgrade. Okay, as a DPS player, you're supposed to upgrade the damage ones first, anyways, and then come back and get the 3-set bonus after the fact.
Well, you'll have
not
the
upgrading.
yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say you're not upgrading your leech one first, Stratinus. That's
True. Well, I'll be a tank, so you never know. Maybe I'll go triple defense.
Well,
Triple
that
defensive shard.
being a tank is a leech roll.
True. Okay. Let's get started with the survival guide proper here. So we wanted to break this down sort of into time-based things. So we'll talk about things you can do in the next couple days before the patch comes out, which this has fluctuated a little bit as Blizzard has kept changing things that are going on, which is, they've adjusted how legendaries function, right? Such that they come with a socket now next patch. Any legendary piece will have a socket in it in 9.1 if it's eligible to, not a domination socket, just a regular one, right? How does this function with regards to like upgrading legendaries or stuff, Squishy? Do you know?
Yeah, so if
Yes,
you
he does.
upgrade a previous legendary, you do not get a free socket, which is what a lot of people are upset about. If you have a rank 1, a rank 2, a rank 3, or even a rank 4 that, like a belt that is just doesn't have a socket, your options are recraft it to get a free socket in next patch, or put a socket on it, like via the
Now.
regular socket items.
Okay, so
Yesterday.
So Sam, I'm holding on to a rank 1 bracers or whatever. My options next patch are either spend extra Stygia to like make it rank 5 from scratch, right, and not upgrade the rank
Yeah.
1. Because
Yes.
even if I upgrade using a base item that has a socket, a rank 5, bracers item that has a socket, it's not going to actually have the socket when I do the upgrade.
Yeah.
That is dumb.
Yes.
But thank you for for the heads up there. The good news, I
Testing
guess,
this last night.
Yeah.
By the way.
this is extremely counterintuitive, and hopefully this is like a bug that gets changed type situation. So, but if not, then yeah, that is quite stupid and definitely something you need to play around. Because
It's also
yeah, good.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say it's also important to note that the white items have a socket, but the old white items will not. But it doesn't matter. It
Right.
literally doesn't matter whether the white items have a socket or not. They are functionally the same, and you can craft a new legendary on an old white item without a socket, and it'll still get a socket. So doesn't matter. Just pick the cheapest one.
Okay, that's really good to know. So, what the base item actually says on it, whether or not the base item, that white item, has a socket or not, does not matter at all. It's just completely irrelevant for whether you're upgrading or buying. Your upgrade won't change your socket status, and making a new one from scratch will always have a socket, even if the base item didn't have a socket.
Yeah, the
That's
socket
so
on the white
weird.
item is completely worthless, and literally only serves to confuse people. I don't know why it's there.
Well, hopefully it's because the PTR is not working the way they intend for it to do on live yet. But assuming that behavior makes it to live, that is completely absurd.
Dude, there's no. I think there's a very slim chance that they fix that.
I mean, it depends on how much people grumble about it, right? Didn't people grumbling cause them to add this in the first place earlier this week?
Yeah,
Yeah, true. That does check out.
Okay, well, so maybe we can start a little grumble campaign on this one as well. Definitely at least an awareness campaign to make sure that you don't waste your upgrades thinking you'll get a socket just because the base item you're upgrading to has a socket.
yeah.
Okay.
I could just foresee like the no socket base items being like 10k, and all the socket base items being like 30k for no reason because people think you need a socket one, the old ones are useless or something.
So funny.
Yeah, so you just buy the one without the socket is the way that it'll work right now. But stay tuned. If you're listening to this and it's not Sunday or whatever, if you're listening to this and it's next week at some point, go and check Wowhead and see if there's an update as to how this functions, because maybe there is. And so make sure you've got the most newest up-to-date information on exactly how to craft your legendary.
Good plug.
Yeah, good luck. Hope that you don't make a choice that Blizzard then hotfixes the next day to be not the right choice anymore, as is the theme of the expansion. Okay. Covenant campaigns. Do we have to do them? Do we have to get to Renown 40? And if so, why would we have to do those?
So to start the Korthia campaign, you need to complete Chapter 2, which is basically just entering Torghast, which is just the intro quest line to your Covenant.
Okay.
It's pretty straightforward. Pretty much all players will have done this. But to continue the new Covenant campaign, which also rewards a renown next week, you do need to have completed the entire Covenant campaign.
Okay, so basically, if I have a character that I actually want to do stuff on next patch, now is the time to go and get all of my Covenant campaign done and get as close to Renown 40 as possible as well, right?
Well, there's also like rapid renown catch up.
Yeah, that's true.
So for next patch, there is rapid renown catch up, which awards like one source of renown per renown gaining source that you do. So effectively, you could go back to Cassanathria, do it on all 4 difficulties, and get renown 40 just in whatever time that takes you to do that. So that is something you could do for next patch.
So
but
you
at
have
the
like
same time,
guaranteed renown from like LFR from 30 to 40?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. So that'll be a good source for renown catch up for any characters that don't quite get there and want to do it next week, is do LFR Cassanathria.
You'll still be slightly behind because you have like I mean, there's always the slow catch up to like current, but
no, you can catch all the way up though, right, with renown.
Yeah, exactly. Renown gating is not normally that bad. That's something that they did do very, very well this expansion. Is renown gating is not horrible.
Yeah, the catch up to it is doable, which is good because sometimes you have to swap to a new Covenant, and you need to catch up. Okay,
Covenants are permanent decisions. I don't know what you're talking about.
True, meaningful choice. Stygia. What do I need Stygia for next patch, if anything?
You're going to need 2,500 to unsocket your Shards of Domination. It's a one-time purchase, so you might have to head back to the Maw, which is Dranos' favorite place, but you're going to need some there. And then if you want to buy an item that has a Domination socket from the vendor, you need 2k more. So
right,
around
so these are
4,500.
226 items from the Death's Advance vendor. Do you know what rep they're gated behind?
Honored.
Honored? Okay, so pretty early you can get these.
Pretty early, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're going to be really good to fill in like any slot that you don't get from raid, considering personal loot. So
it's just one like each armor type has one item from the vendor that comes with a socket at 226 already.
220, but yeah.
220. Okay, I mean still, if it's a domination socket, sign me up. That sounds
the item level.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So 4,500 Stygia is what I'm hearing is the amount that I should be going into the week with. Do you get Stygia from doing Korthia and stuff? Do you incidentally get more, or is it just only from the old Maw?
I honestly don't know the answer to that one. I assume you do, but
I'll still come in with 4,500 at least, just to be safe.
Yeah.
Well, you still want to do your weekly Maw event, right? So I mean that does award some Stygia.
The
Maw has basically changed. Yeah, the Maw is like revamped completely.
Okay.
So I don't know the specifics on where it drops from, but it should be pretty straightforward.
Right, because starting we'll cover that when we get to actually week 1, but there's one more piece of stuff you can do this week, which has to do with the single greatest innovation ever had at Blizzard Entertainment from the brilliant mind of Bobby Kotick himself, the conduit energy system. So here's what you will want to do. Next patch, some of your conduit slots become empowered, right? It's these top 3, right?
They all do over the course of getting to Renown 80, I think. But
it's top and bottom, though, right?
Yeah. It starts once you pass 60.
So basically, you want to put your best scaling conduit, the one that gains the most from like 2 extra ranks, in the top slots of your tree, and the ones you care less about upgrading near the bottom slots of your tree.
Wow, Dranos, that's such an innovative system.
Yes, and you get a whole new conduit energy every day to let you have even more exciting possibilities.
I think I think Squishy's on board with our cold opens now.
Yeah.
The way he said that. Wow, Drat knows that is such an innovative system. Tell me more.
Uh, so yeah, that's the move. There will be some new slots as well down here at the bottom. But yeah, you wanna weight it so that your best scaling conduits are near the top. Most conduits not a big deal, but some conduits do scale pretty well with item level. Like Infernal Cascade for fire is still one that gains a lot per item level relative to others. The Necrolord Windwalker one. So if you have any of those, put them to the top of your tree. Pay the two covenant or conduit energies tax to do a little swapperoo.
Do it now, not later. No.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Use
don't
your
want to do
conduit
it
energy
later.
now. I heard you get conduit energy when you gain renown next patch as well. So in the first couple weeks, we'll have even a couple extra hits of conduit energy, which I'm excited for so much. Love that feeling of refreshing
Okay,
a conduit energy.
Side note, why in the world do you like lose conduit energy whenever you place a new conduit in the socket? Like, okay, we're gonna have so many of the sockets to be able to place. So if you swap to a covenant you never played before and you're like, wow, I would like 2 soulbind trees worth of characters. You're like, oh no, that depletes all of my conduit energy. What now will I ever do? I guess I'll finish filling this out later.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6. It's 6 per tree now. If you just go one path,
Exactly.
even if you don't want to prepare to go other paths ever on a soulbind, that's crazy.
Well, I mean, picking a second soulbind guy, you literally couldn't fill it out.
Yeah.
That's so. Okay, whatever.
The other thing is that there's no known source of covenant conduits other than Sire Denathrius. So if you're swapping covenants for any reason, like you're going Arcane Mage or
Venthyr Balance.
Venthyr
No,
Balance.
wait.
In order to get the covenant conduit, the highest known source for the next patch is 226 from Mythic Sire Denathrius,
I
and
thought
there's
there
one
was-
lockout left. If there's more,
I thought there was
I
like
haven't seen
the
it.
upgrade any conduit to 226
Yes.
was like easy to do, right?
but that's rep locked. Oh, up to 226. Yes.
Yeah, there's like
But-
plentiful ways to upgrade to 226, right? And then it's
World Quests. World Quests now drop conduit to 226 as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Never mind. There
okay.
you go.
So Sire
You're
not,
griefing me. You're making me panic.
not as required,
Yeah,
but. If that's Abyss conduit slot, you're gonna have to upgrade all your conduits so that you can start upgrading them to 252 or whatever with the new upgrade system, right? The Archivist Codex, so cool.
I fucking love conduits. God, this is the best system.
All right, so that's all the stuff we could think of to do this coming week. Of course, there's more little minor optimizations, spending your valor, spending your conquest. I guess there's not really a huge reason to spend your conquest, but it's going away. I guess hold on to it. Maybe you'll get it turned into 10 silver each or something. Yeah, throw some stuff up on the auction house.
Janice, you'll get more from your mission table than waiting for there.
True, dude. Mission table, such a cool and fun system. Love setting those up. I've been farming augment runes from my table, getting like 50 a day or whatever across my account. So rich.
I love TFT as well.
Well, once you have a lot of alts, if you just do each Torghast wing like once on each character, and you have just this stable of like 16 companions or whatever, you get so
To
many
farm
augments. Yeah.
Augment. How many augment runes do you have?
Across my account, probably like 1,000 now, 1,500 or something. It's crazy. There's a 6, a 5, and a 4 augment rune mission, and you can do like 2 of them each day.
Hey, Squishy, how many augment runes do you have?
Not too many, but I know Beatrix is a lot.
Oh God,
Like, he has
I have
a
like
lot.
I have like 20.
Okay, so let's talk about what you can do during week 1. So, Tazavesh is not open yet. Tormented Keys are not open yet. But the Korthia campaign starts. So, there's an intro quest line you get to do. You get to do the exciting Battle for Ardenweld. Won't spoil you on all of the exciting plot points that happen there. You get to go and unlock Korthia. It takes probably an hour or 2 or something to get through all of that quest line stuff, and then you get to start doing Korthia dailies and bi-weekly Korthia assaults and weekly Tormentors of Torghast events, all of which you should do for the weekly and bi-weekly stuff. Give you what is it, soul cinders, right? So you should do those for legendary upgrade.
Oh, yes, the Soul Cinders. And the
Oh,
Soul
yes.
Cinders are the currency that you use to purchase the Shards of Domination off the vendor.
Well, that's Stygian Embers, which is a different one. So
Oh,
there,
fuck.
yes,
Wait.
you get Soul Cinders from the weekly and bi-weekly stuff.
You're
but
right, you're right.
Then there's also a weekly quest that gives you Stygian Embers, which also drop from the raid bosses, which are what you use to upgrade your Shards of Domination.
Yeah. The weekly is the. You're right.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Digi numbers are from the weekly stuff, not the bi-weekly stuff.
Yeah, well, there's the weekly quest and there's the Tormentors of Torghast weekly event that you can do, which is similar to the Wrath of the Jailer thing, right?
Okay. I can't tell if I'm just really okay. I think this is a combination of me being super stupid, but Soul Cinders and Stygian Embers are too close in name together, and they're so. I feel like they're so easy to get confused for no reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jado said, I was like, wait, which one's that? Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a
God.
second.
Especially because there's also Stygia and Soul Ash and, Korthite
Exactly.
crystals. All of these
The
different
Korthite
resources.
crystals. The Korthite crystals are differentiated enough that I know what they are, but like the rest of them is just like, wait a second, which one did he just say? Soul Cinders?
Yeah, so you can start getting your Korthite crystals next week as well. Those are basically crafting materials for the legendary base items. So you can just think of them as gold that you sell on the auction house. Just sell them on the auction house, make a lot of gold, maybe delay selling them until people are actually crafting the base items, which may be a week or so down the line. So you maybe stockpile them for a little bit. I don't know. I don't know when they'll be worth the most, but
Because you can only craft rank 5 after 3 weeks, right? It's like 2.15, I think was the.
yeah, it's like what two and a bit weeks before you can make your rank 5 legendary, and 3 and a bit before you can make your rank 6. Yeah.
Once all the Torghast wings are open, and they're not. They're
Right.
time gated again. So
Oh, are they really? Wait, I thought they were. I thought it was open all the way to 12. Oh shit.
No, it's like
Talos, I understand that you're
Yeah.
super excited to do the new Torghast, but they're not open right away.
Dude, I gotta reclaim my speedrun rank 1 title.
So, so in addition to the bi-weekly Covenant Assaults and the Tormentors of Torghast Maw event, there are new Torghast wings that I think we'll just get one of the first week. I think it's just layer 10 or layer 9 the first week. Maybe it's
so,
layer
yeah.
10 as well. And then, of course, you just go to the highest level you can, farm those. You'll get a bunch of Soul Ash. If you need more Soul Ash, you can just spam Torgis that week as well, and you can get infinite Soul Ash by doing that. But if you want Soul Cinders, it's the same way that Soul Ash works right now, where you just do the wing once, and then you go do the other wing, and then you got all your Soul Cinders.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be cool.
In order to unlock the new layer, though, you need to get 4 stars. 4 out of 5 stars on a Torghast wing, which involves the whole new scoring system. It's confusing, but basically it requires you to do a full clear of the wings. That's basically the short form of the requirement.
So how much is speed factored into it versus full clearing? Like, full clearing is the way more important thing? If I full clear but I'm
Yeah.
kind of slow, am I still going to get 4 stars?
Yeah. They
Okay.
basically removed almost everything from speed. There's a couple, they have this,
Multiplier, right?
checklist. No, that's all gone. They have this checklist of things that you can do as well outside of full clearing. There's kill the boss fast enough, like the final boss in under 40 seconds or 20 seconds, which give you bonus points.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no any more the streak bar is completely gone.
Okay.
So you don't need that anymore.
Streak.
Mega kill.
Mega. We need the mega damn. We need the mega damn battle text for this, man.
Yeah. Well, there was that scrolling combat text add-on that just added comma 000, comma 000 after every damage number that showed up.
There was a mega damn combat text, and it was fucking ridiculous. And Valoris used it during Antorus, and it was wild.
Okay. So other stuff that you'll want to do in week 1 is renown stuff. The 2 weekly renown quests that you've come to know and love, rescuing 20 lost souls. By the way, do we get to rescue more lost souls ever? Is our soul keeper going to get any stronger? It's a shame because I really prefer rescuing 20 souls compared to 5 at the start of the patch. It's more fun to do that.
I don't think that thing even rewards renown anymore. I know that you're going to be super disappointed, Dratnos, but those souls no longer give renown.
What?
A moment of silence for Dratnos and his souls.
That's my favorite quest, though. I love just circling around Zoval's cauldron looking for those icons on my minimap for an hour. Okay, well, what do I do then? Where do my renown quests come from?
You need to collect everyone's favorite anima. It looks like it's still 1,000.
Let's go.
You need to do the Korthia weekly quest that you're going to do for your currencies anyways.
Oh, so that one gives the
And
renown now instead of the souls. It's the one that
yeah,
gives the Stygian embers. Okay.
we believe so, yeah. And then the weekly campaign quest, which you
I-
need to have the rest of the campaign unlocked. So
Inquiry: why do you think it's 3 the first week and not 2? I was reading somewhere that some people thought it was 2 the first week, but I know that you thought it was 3, at least on our forums.
I don't think. I mean, it's irrelevant if it does. If it basically comes down to
It
whether
is
the campaign
irrelevant.
is available or not.
Yeah, okay.
It
It comes
basically
down to
comes down
whether
to
the
whether
campaign.
you get an extra campaign week one because you're doing the intro to Korthia, you're doing the battle for Erdenweald. So there's a lot of extra questing already, and they might just push the campaign to week 2, which is fine if they do that because you'll still get your renown on the normal week for 48.
Exactly, because you need 48 to be able to craft your Covenant specific legendary, which you'll be able to craft the exact same week regardless of whether you get 3, and you'll be at 49 versus 48 during Mythic week. So it's not like it's going
Yeah,
to
we just need
actively
to
make
get
a
at
difference.
least 8 renown in the first 3 resets to get that Covenant legendary on Mythic Week, if that's something you care about. Which a couple of specs do, right? Like Ventia
Yeah.
Boomies would really like that legendary.
Dude, can you imagine if they did get it the first week of Mythic, that the Covenant spec combo would be fucking an abomination.
Yeah, that would indeed be a shame.
Hmm.
Okay. So all of that renowned stuff taken care of. What about Mythic Plus? Do we have any indication what level key we might want to do going into, because usually they reduce your key level by like 4 or 5, right? Going into the Prideful, or going from one affix to the next one. We know that won't be the first week of the patch, right? It'll be on Heroic Week is when we switch to Tormented, and our key level goes down by some amount. We don't actually know the number it'll go down yet. It's just educated guess.
Yeah, they haven't said anything. The amount that they said that the Mythic Plus goes up in the patch is equal to 4 Keystone levels
Okay.
compared to the normal 3, which is suspecting that maybe you want to do a 21 this week to be safe and not a 20. But
Yeah, that's
it's all speculation.
Well, there was that one season that they also the scaling was only like 2.5 going into the corruption season, right? As opposed to being more was actually less than a normal season, and they still had it drop by 4.
There was also that one season where I spent like 4 hours looking at a comma in a patch note to try and figure out whether they were going to make our key drop by 4 or 5.
That's such a good.
I remember.
I remember this. I do remember that.
I was doing like a grammar lesson about what the implications of that comma were, and the fact that it was like absent meant that we would be dropping an extra key level or something.
I remember watching that stream because you were doing the assault in Uldir or something.
Yeah.
Dude, I haven't thought about that. I remember what you're talking about because this is like an additional 4. They just had like
Yeah.
a bad comment somewhere. You're just like, what?
As an additional 4 key
thing?
levels in addition to the normal one that you have every week, or just 4.
Yeah.
Anyways, TLDR, they haven't said anything about it this time. Do the highest key level you can if you care about coming into the patch with a high key. Don't feel pressure to do this though. If you're somebody who's like, hey, I don't want to just do a 15 week 1 or whatever, don't force yourself to do a 20 this week then, if that's not something you care about, or if you'd rather push the key level up in the next season, if you'd rather not be stressed about it and trying to do the highest level key you can this season, and you'd rather do it next season, you'd rather do the pushing up next season, that's fine too.
I mean, you can just be a good Samaritan and piggyback off your guildmates as well.
Of course, yeah, just
That
borrow
may
a
be
guildie's key.
That's probably what may be happening for me. I'm just gonna piggyback off my guildie success.
Now, during Heroic Week, we do want to do a 15, right, for our Great Vault, and we probably want to do like 4 or 10 15s for the Great Vault, because a change coming next patch is the Great Vault is capped out at 15 rather than 14, and a Dungeon Loot is capped out at 14 rather than 15. So they inverted those, which does have some implications for what you're going to want to do on Heroic Week. We expect, but we don't know, that on Heroic Week they're going to cap it at some point, at some level, what you can get out of the dungeon. But then when you open your vault on Mythic Week, it'll be the full, that will be the full new item level all the way up.
Dude, The Wowhead comments for that post were wilding out for no reason.
Yeah, it seemed totally reasonable
What
to
level?
me. Like swap the level between the Great Vault one and
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
It's like whatever. I mean, that's totally understandable, and probably makes it easier to find the groups for the 15s for your Keystone Master as well. So
Yeah.
that will be nice because there won't
That
be as
is
many
true.
like plus 14s in the group finder. There'll be more plus 15s. Um,
Yeah, the last
also-
thing is.
Good.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I was
you-
gonna say Mythic Plus rating is coming as well, so it's gonna be. I think it's launching next week. It's been a controversial thing, but I think everybody's score is starting at 0.
Cool.
I don't know that for sure, but
Wow.
everybody's gonna have to work. Well, one season 2, definitely people are gonna have to start their score over, but we'll see what happens then. But you'll probably start seeing the Mythic Plus rating in the group finder and all the systems that come along with that.
Are we
Legendary.
gonna get like our ports if we had like 20s done all the way through the season? I mean, I don't know, man. I guess you never really know.
I think it's season 2, but I don't really know.
Yeah. Because like how it worked on the PTR right now is like you would copy a character over and your score would stay, but there's no way that I don't believe that would
I would be
stay.
surprised if they didn't reset it and make you do it next season to get the new rewards. I'd be surprised if they just grandfathered us in from season 1, but maybe, yeah, it's definitely not confirmed either way.
Also, another question: is it 20 average? Okay, so is it similar to how they're changing Keystone Master?
It's
Is
each
it-
dungeon.
Okay,
Each dungeon
they're
time of
keeping
20.
it like they're
Yeah.
keeping it like it was for just for the CM port or for the ports, right?
Yeah. Time
Yeah.
of 20 theater, get a 20 theater, or get a port to theater. You know, time of 20
Okay.
Plaguefall, get a port to Plaguefall. Yeah. So that'll be that's I think a cool new stretch goal to add to the system. But I'm excited about doing some keys with Tormented. That looks pretty fun. Of course, we'll talk a lot about that on this show over the next few weeks. As
Yeah.
you know, we talk a lot about M+.
Do you have any initial impressions of Tormented Squishy?
I haven't really played it much, honestly. I hope they cap it at certain levels. The fire AOE is going to
Agreed.
end up being Prideful 2.0, where you're playing against or you're playing against the lieutenants rather than playing the dungeon with lieutenants. So that's basically the big hope. I think Bursting and Grievous worked out really well, stopping at 15. I don't see why they couldn't apply it to other things as well, like the seasonal effects, so it's not completely overbearing.
Dude, nobody really talks about this, but man, Bursting was a really good success coming into this expansion. Like holy shit, that they turned that affix around pretty hard with the making it dispellable and capping it at 15.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting because like bursting weeks were push weeks back in BFA, but they were like a pain, and now it's like an affix that
Hard,
I
yeah.
think feels fair, and in some cases harder, but it's like a good kind of difficulty now.
Agreed.
Feels a
Yeah.
lot more fun for me. Okay, so that's the first couple weeks stuff. The TLDR again, not too much more prep you can do this week. Planning out where your legendary is going to go, everything like that. Catching up on Covenant campaign, Renown, Soulbind swaps to the top of your tree for whichever ones you want to empower. Not a big deal if you don't run out of conduit energy, but if you do swap specs or whatever, maybe it'll matter for you. Grind some Stygia, come into the patch with a little bit of Stygia to buy some of the new stuff. And then week 1, just do all the new exclamation point quests that show up. Do a key to set yourself up to get a good key going into Heroic Week. And Heroic Week, there will be a lot of stuff to do. There will be Tazavesh, there will be some keys, probably capped item level, and there will be the Heroic Raid, and that'll be the big thing to be doing. But that's that's about it for what's going on in this new patch. So it's not actually too overwhelming. It's weird because there's like a lot of systems that sound complicated, but in practice what you're going to do is just basically the same you did this patch, right? You'll go and like do the things will have exclamation points over their head, and you will walk to where it says to go on the map and take care of that, and then like once you've done that, you'll go hang out in the maw and kill some rares for a while, and then
Yeah.
all set.
Except this time you won't be forced out once you kill too many rares.
True,
You'll get
we-
to spend
True.
as much time as you want in there.
Thank goodness, the Eye of the Jailer mechanic going away, so I will be able to spend my whole day in the maw as I have always intended.
Daily, what is like the projection for daily time that you're going to end up spending doing this stuff? Probably like
Like an
45
hour?
minutes an hour. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, apparently the rare respawn is kind of scuffed. The rare respawn rate
Oh, they're awful.
is
They're
kind of
so
scuffed.
Yes.
slow.
So
Yes.
you're going to be sitting around waiting for respawns for a bit. So get a good second monitor piece of entertainment going. I would say for your MA activities
How long is
It's a lot.
THD spending in the mall?
all day.
It's a lot like Mechagon. I feel like because I remember doing Mechagon and like people would actually be like in general chat just like so and so up, and like everybody would flock to that area to get their spare parts and whatever else dropped from that for the day. So I think it's going to be very similar because that's the type of rare spotting that we're getting next patch instead of the instant sprint maw rares for the most part.
Which I'm less excited about, especially because they give so little rep, but they still give some rep. So you're like, I mean, I think it's going to be annoying, but whatever, Annoying
As long
grinds.
as long as I'm not getting farmed by Ruin Gaming, everything's gonna be fine.
Well, do you get more rep with war mode on?
You should. I think that's how war mode works. I mean,
Yeah, maybe you
I
got
don't
maybe you
know.
gotta. I'm not gonna turn
That
that thing
is-
on, man. I'm not trying to get attacked by
I don't fucking care that much.
particularly
man.
when you land in the maw and there's just the rate of alliance right there, because they have that weekly quest against overwhelming odds and they're just trying to farm people landing.
Yep.
That was fun. I think they fixed that so that doesn't happen anymore, maybe. But
Yeah, they had to hotfix an immunity and invisibility debuff to Venari so that Horde wouldn't
That
get
was so
farmed outside.
fucking good. That was so fucking good. Whenever they had to hotfix that, because Alliance were just farming Horde players right outside of Venari Hold.
um, yeah. Okay, so that's our survival guide. We've got a couple of good questions that we will answer as well. And if you have any other questions, if there's anything in your mind, you're watching this live that is unanswered, think about it now. Put it in Twitch chat. Tettles will grab it, and we will answer it after we thank the patrons for their overwhelming support. They are Paul of US Tichondrius, Coom Cubine of US Tichondrius, Riley, Gainful Employment is Not Fun, Ja, Dranos' Dino Pillow, Chromed, Trekkie, Never Nude, Chewy, Tettles, aka Terrible Enforcement towards transferring legendaries existing slots.
Dude, it's not my fault. Okay, whatever.
And at least it gives you a socket now, but it's still a bad decision. And also, as we learned in this episode, thanks to Squishei, the socket part is honestly kind of more scuffed than if they didn't do anything. It's not AMZ, it's AMZ, Salty Senny, Necris, Tankdill, Nevuk, Sinmora, Eevee, always one step behind, Stevenson, love the Constantinople bit, Take Light of the Protector and Frenzied Regen off the GCD, No Trick, I scheduled a Tettle's Flame, Cutting Edge Sire Dematicus, Dymat, Paint stick figures are the best way to explain raid strats. You guys see the new Castle Pineapple or Sanctum of Pineapple or whatever? Little flash game for that purpose as well.
Wowhead,
Yes.
Wowhead
Wowhead had a little
posted
post
about
on it,
that,
yeah. Where it's like a little
really
flash
good.
game. Yeah, there was one of these for Sanctum as well, but it
Or you mean for Castle?
yeah, for Castle, yeah. So Sanctum of Pineapples, and you can just it basically teaches you the raid mechanics on each of the fight, with a little flash game. So depending on how you learn, that might be a really cool way to practice as well. Lufer, Nyx, Farewell Castle Nathria, your real loot drops for the friends we made in your halls. Brusif, Dranos Routes Abyss, Soul Ash, Conduit Energy, AoE Cap. What are you talking about? Come on, it's 2008. Let's kill the Lich King. M Sanity, Xena, We Are Praying Hanny will pump in 9.1. Rogue is now good enough for Prague, but still bad enough to be sat for SLG. Bless up. Last reset of SLG coming soon. I'm gonna miss it. Red color,
Not.
Some Zero of US Tichondrius, youtube.com/workbringer. Morty died 3 times to mechanics this week. A horror of US Proudmore. KOZ's mythic team is trash cans and not trash cants. Gallic, Snicker Shelby, Alphabet Soup, Druid Friends of Evolved Gaming. All Boomkins are fans of complaining. True. Come back to retail, Beef Daddy, your guild misses you. And Indeterminate Cloth DPS. That's all for the support.
Side Stone Legion General shit. I hadn't thought about this in a while. I loved whenever they nerfed the first real nerf to Stone Legion Generals, and then they just made us completely reprog the fucking boss because they nerfed it. You're just like, okay.
Did you see Pieces speed kill of SLG in the Raidmaster tournament?
5-minute SLG.
Sub 5-minute SLG. They brought all 3 Goliaths into both intermissions so they could just get out.
Yeah. This is so cool.
That's
Phenomenal.
that's wild. I mean, we've done like some pretty fast strategies for that with the Goliath, but we've never done some shit like that's wild how they did that.
All right, let's get to Q&A. Our first question comes from Mips in Discord, who asked, as Blizzard presumably starts planning 9.2 content, I think that actually based on the way their cadence works, that's probably already been happening for a while, right? Like the actual plan for what happens in each patch is way ahead of time, right? What realistic fundamental changes do you most want to see to the M plus system? Bringing some old dungeons into the pool, affix system changes, reward structure, etc. This is an interesting question. I feel like most of the changes I want to see for M plus would be like expansion level rethinkings.
I agree with
like,
that.
Let's take this AoE cap and just pretend we never did that. Forget it ever happened. Get that out of here. You know, let's rework how we want tanks to function, make them feel a lot more impactful, and you know have higher agency. Add a little bit more raid damage so the healers have stuff to heal as well.
Redesign. I would redesign how the trash packs like work, dude. Like, when was the last time we saw a mob that didn't have a cast in a dungeon? Like,
You mean just like something that doesn't do anything? There's a couple of those, but there's not many. Yeah.
I mean, there should at least be some where it's just like, they don't fucking do anything. I'm kind of okay with like some of those existing. Also, additionally, we didn't talk about this. They nerfed white damage from
Yeah.
mobs in Mythic Plus by 10%. That's a good. That was honestly a pretty good change. I don't know how much it changes, but like very very solid nonetheless.
I think the question of bringing some old dungeons into the pool, yeah, I've talked about this on the show a little bit ago, but I think it would be a really good change for like there to be a seasonal time walking M plus dungeon that's just you can just drop like an Eye of Azshara key this season and it's in the cycle, and you go that dungeon's back in the pool for a season and then it goes away again. And
We
they
have
can
Eye of
pick-
Azshara coming back. It's Tavesh or
you know,
whatever the fucking
they can
Eye of
pick
Azshara plays.
from the good ones, from the freeholds and the Eye of Azsharas, and we can leave the King's Rest and the Siege of Borealis or whatever. No need to go back there. Thank you.
Fucking Upper Karazhan.
Upper
Leave
Kara.
that, leave that shit. Leave that shit in the past. I don't want to get one shot anymore. My
Dude, I
mana
love
devour.
Upper Kara. That place is sweet.
That
Yeah,
doesn't look so
I-
bad.
I think for me, I think I like to see two things. One is the some kind of revamp to the affix system. I
Mhm.
think there are right now the best affixes are the ones that don't do anything, which is basically what storming is turning into for the most part. Because you're gonna have Dratnos here soaking all the tornadoes for you. So,
Happy to help.
but I think just turning more into like some kind of benefit. But the other thing I think is just a revamp on loot. It's really no fun to get the exact same piece of loot for 4 seasons at a plus 26 item level. Like, oh look, I have to farm another box now. Another season for another season, you know.
Dude,
At the
the loot
at the-
structure for Mythic Plus is so bad. I agree with that.
yeah.
Yeah,
For PvP at least,
seasonal items, yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say like seasonal items, just add a couple cool things that are added to a couple of or like one item to each dungeon that's global, or because PvP gets a new PvP trinket every season, which they probably want more too. But Mythic Plus could probably benefit from a couple seasonal items as well.
Yeah, like affix themed ones, right? You could put like a prideful trinket for each roll, and then change them into a tormented trinket for each roll that drop from the dungeons or whatever. Even something as little as that, if those were push trinkets, would be enough to make your gear feel different. Instead of okay, goodbye Mythic 10 Titanforge Harlan's loaded dice, and hello new Mythic 10 Titanforge Harlan's loaded dice of the next season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think that is definitely a good thing to think about. I'm excited though. I mean, I think that the amount of change, the adding of the M plus score, all the work they've been doing M plus this coming patch has been way more than I would expect in like an X.1 patch normally. So I think that the trend is looking good for how much attention they're paying to M
Well,
plus.
it took twice as long to fucking launch it, I guess. But
Okay, yeah. If it takes, if this costs them 7 months or whatever to make all this stuff happen in M plus, especially the mount design, of course, for the reward structure, I'm sure it took the most time.
It's now a great hue of green as
Yeah.
opposed to a hue of slightly
Dude, I would
less
love if the
green.
hotfix notes if there were just like 3 hotfixes over the next 24 hours that was like updated the hue of the new mount. Okay, updated it again. We've got the perfect one now.
We changed the hex code for the new mount by 3 hexes or some shit.
The next question comes from Brotan123 who asks, do we know what the new M plus affix rotation is and why can't they just put it in the patch notes? No, we don't, and because they hate us are the two answers to those questions, I think.
They, they want players to engage with the surprise on the weekly reset. And Dratnos to have no preparation for his videos.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
they-
fucking.
They would love
I'm honestly just sitting here waiting for Gushing Wound Week to show up on the Corruption Vendor. Who knows when it's going to show up next?
True. I mean, I think it does make some sense. They want to keep they want some stuff to be surprising and exciting. I just don't think like is Mikey gonna have Necrotic on it this week? Is the one of those exciting moments? I think it's more like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's something better to plan around.
Well, currently on the PTR, one of the new fixed weeks is up. It is the return of Bolstering Explosive Tyrannical.
Bet. See what I've done there? Bet bolstering explosive tyrannical. That's
You're so fucking dumb. That's actually the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say. I was like, I understood the bet. And you're just like, did you see what I've done there? Bolstering Explosive Tyrannical. Oh my god, you're so.
All right, next question comes from Lats and Traps, who asks, "How difficult is Sanctum compared to Nathria?"
Probably similar. I would suspect it's going to be similar in difficulty. I thought Nathria on release was pretty good in terms of difficulty.
Heroic Nathria was like extremely
Oh.
hard because
True.
we came into Heroic Nathria 40 item levels below Heroic gear, right? This time we're coming in 10 to 20 item levels below Heroic, so I think that if you found Heroic Nathria to be really hard those first few weeks, I think it's less likely that Sanctum will be that kind of experience for you.
I think,
Good?
We were trolling with Heroic Nathria.
yeah, I think a lot of people in the community, the sentiment was don't craft your legendary because we don't trust Blizzard not to nerf it.
Right.
So a bunch of people went into Heroic, 40 levels under geared, with no legendary, and expected to stomp it, which in hindsight probably, could have been foreseen a little better, but I think it'll definitely be a lot easier this time.
Yeah, and mostly just because we have closer gear to Heroic level already.
Yeah.
How difficult are the Mythic bosses compared to the Nathria ones? No idea. Probably in that kind of similar range, but no idea. We'll have to see.
The difficulty of raids has been pretty steady for a while now. We haven't seen like a raid that's like overly hard or overly easy like since Legion. Like Tumas Argeris was the last raid that I would say was one way or the other overly difficult or overly easy. I mean, that one was just hard, but I think the rest of them have been more like in that 2 reset range, like
For World First, yeah.
reset
Yeah.
+1, reset +2 kind of thing.
I think they'll nail tuning, but I do think this raid has a lot more Zymox-like fights. Like you have Fate Scribe, which you have to get people to rotate the rings. You have Painsmith, which you have to have people spread out to play Bomberman in the right spots, and if they're in the wrong spot, they just Bomberman your entire raid. So I think there's going to be more Zymox-like fights where it's not necessarily about the damage, but more about the mechanical play and that sort of thing.
Wait, so hold on. On Fate Scribe, everybody has to do the rings, right?
No, it assigns 10 people.
It's random, right?
Yeah, the game assigns 10 people, and you have to have those people fix the rings for you.
I think I know a hunter that we're not allowed to have on the fight, man.
All right, next question comes from Ski Boots, who asks, "When does the Mega Dungeon come out?" Heroic Week.
Yeah.
That's what Tazvesh comes out. Yeah, so July 6th or whatever. Next question comes from Udthor, who asks, "Tettles, do you think Boomies will be S tier?"
Dratnus would say yes. I think Boomies are not S tier. I think Boomies are good, though. I do think Boomies are A tier.
Do not listen to his propaganda. Boomies do this. They have this consortium where they just are always like doom and gloom about this back. They're just like, "Oh,
Not even
Boomies,
true!
Boomies are so bad. We need buffs."
No.
Pain,
Dude,
pain.
I just said it was it. Okay.
And then like Photoshop pictures of themselves, like of chickens staring out into the abyss or whatever.
Dude, those are good. Those are good pictures. Like honestly, okay. Here's the secret tech. Always blow everything up and just completely exaggerate the problem 100% of the time, and you get more shit fixed. I think Boomies are A tier. I don't think Boomies are S tier. Dratnus believes Boomies are better than that, though.
Nerf Boomy, nerf Boomy, nerf Boomy. All right, next question comes from Ryujin, who asks, "What does THD stand for?" Wrong answers only.
I got a good one for this. The Hairy Dwarf. 10 hot dudes.
The hammest dude.
The human demon.
That's a good one. That's a good one. The human demon. Agreed.
All right. And with that, we are out of questions. We'll be back next week with, I guess we'll probably talk about some current event of some kind, or I don't know. Maybe we'll do a tormented prep thing or something. No idea. That'll be a fun thing next week. Hopefully we'll have Trell back. Thanks for coming on the show, Squishy, though. Anything you want to promote or shout out before we depart here?
I mean, just most of my work is on Wowhead, so anything you see there might be done by me. Just that's basically it.
Very cool. I'll have to
Check out
check that
Squishy's
site out at
Twitter.
some point.
And check out
Okay.
Squishy's Twitter for subtle shade towards new systems that are coming.
True. Yeah, Squishy does these tweets that are like, I'm not sure why they're doing this or whatever, and you just know that like inside he's like, this is so dumb, this is so dumb, this is so dumb.
Oh, dude, he subtweets like bad changes so well. Let me see if I can find one.
All right.
And with that, we are out of here. We'll be back next week. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.